Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Sorry, first time behind this chair. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Dawn, could you please conduct roll call?
Council members Gordon,
Present.
Ledeju, Matias,
Here.
Matulik,
Present.
Palmares.
Present.
I will note for the record, Mayor Source and Vice Mayor Bergenzer are absent.
Great, thank you. Manny, could you please start the clock for public comment? Thank you. And in the meantime, Dawn, could you please read the closed session agenda item? Or city attorney, I don't know who's, okay.
Thank you. Yes, members of the council, the city council will meet this evening in closed session with regard to the following item: conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of Government Code section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation, one case.
Through the chair, we do already have a few members of the public signed up for public comment. We can hear those members of the public while the counter still continues to go down. Would that be okay?
Perfect, let's do that.
Okay, first three speakers will be Daniel Boone, followed by Sherry Ann Grimm, afterwards Bridget Doherty.
Council members, I urge you to cancel this hastily called meeting where council members are not present, because every time you act in this way, this is what the public is thinking. And since this council was impaneled in January of 2025, the public has heard over and over and over again about transparency and openness and building trust with the community. When you hold a meeting like this, under these circumstances, this is the message that you are sending to the public. I urge you, cancel this meeting, or if that is not legally possible, open the meeting, continue all matters on this very opaque item. The public has no idea what you're about to go do behind closed doors. Continue all of those matters to a later meeting when all council members can be present. Otherwise,
Sherry Ann Grimm.
Good evening, council members. Troubling revelations keep coming. This has resulted in what we're witnessing here tonight, not just disagreement, but dysfunction. This dysfunction is not the fault of one individual, it belongs to each of you. It's no longer confined to these chambers, it's spilling into the community, undermining trust and weakening the very foundation of your public service. When council members publicly or privately blame each other, talk over points of order, or ignore agreed upon procedures, the public notices. And when a meeting is scheduled at the one time the mayor elected to represent all districts said she was unavailable, it doesn't just look like poor planning, it seems intentional, whether that was the intent or not. That sends a message that some voices, even those of elected officials, are being excluded. This undercuts the very value of transparency and inclusivity that you claim to support and should hold as core values. If this council is serious about bringing the community together, it must begin by modeling that unity. How can we expect the public to collaborate when our leaders can't hold a respectful meeting that includes all voices, especially the voices that were elected to represent the interests of the entire city? The tone you are setting matters. If arrogance, dismissiveness, and disrespect dominate this space, that's what the community will reflect. Each of you has a responsibility, not just to your own views, but to each other and to this community. Respect, collaboration, and fairness should not be optional. They are the foundation of good governance. So I ask you to really reflect on whether it's wise to move forward with a meeting that intentionally leaves out the mayor, the vice mayor, whom we duly elected, whether or not you agree with her or the reason that Councilmember Bergenzer is gone. The decisions you make send a message about what you stand for. The people you serve are watching. The community deserves leadership that listens, includes, and works together for the common good. You, as a body right now, are not delivering. Your actions must align with your words. And a final thought. You don't need to be an attorney to know that when allegations are made against any appointed official, or a cop, a teacher, a coach, a pastor, or anyone else, they don't investigate themselves or get to choose their investigator. That should not be anywhere, that person should not be anywhere near the investigation. That's just common sense.
Bridget Doherty. Bridget, yeah. And then following her, we have Deanna Lang, Jen Renzi, and Gary Wetstein.
Hello, Council. I'm here again. I've been here many times before, speaking in front of you and the previous mayor. I'm a little at odds because this meeting was called so abruptly, less than 24 hours ago. And I'm not understanding exactly why the urgency when part of the council isn't here, the mayor isn't here, the only one that's in opposition to the, the only one that's in support of the investigation being taken outside of the city and done independently. I feel like as a citizen here that we are not being heard. I feel like as an advocate here, I know I haven't been heard. I was promised by a city attorney, Neb, last year that she was going to meet with me due to me being the spokesperson for Daryl Mufford's family. He was killed in 2016 and it was just uncovered last year. So we knew it had happened and I came and asked for help. I was ignored. I came back a year later, asked for help. The mayor at that time asked who was going to help me on council. Neb stood up and spoke up and said she was going to help me. I asked her when. Would it be the next day? The mayor jokingly said, because of course our meetings go into after midnight. We're here pretty late, so maybe it could be in the afternoon. I had no problem with that. I didn't even have a problem if it had to be the day after that. Since then, I've called, I've emailed, I've tried every way to get a hold of her office. She continues to ignore me. So in turn, I went and got an attorney. And so I'm sure you guys are aware of that situation. The family, Daryl's mother passed away this last Saturday before Mother's Day. And he was killed in 2016. She died without even seeing a police report. This meeting right here is to cover those things up. The reason I'm sitting here speaking today is because Daryl can't. His family are all sick. His mother has passed away. I'm here as his spokesperson, and I'm here to speak for all the impacted people that have been killed by Vallejo Police Department. Apparently, I don't know if you care or if you're just not doing your job, because you should know this stuff. You should know this stuff. This is your job. This is what we're here fighting for. You to not vote on this. And if you do, you're just kicking the can down the road with more illegal bullshit.
Deanna Lang, followed by Jen Renzi and Gary Wetstein.
Hey, council members, not a fun night to be here. And inexplicably, we are. At 4:59 last night, a notice went out of a special closed session meeting. That's just dirty pool. And knowing that the mayor and vice mayor weren't going to be here, that's just malevolent in my mind. The only thing that we got to hear was it was about anticipated litigation. Well, it's more true than you can imagine. The obfuscation by the city attorney's office of facts and evidence is nothing but malevolence. We will all find out soon enough that the anticipated litigation will be against her and that department and what she's tried to hide. Fox guarding the head house never works, and that's exactly what's happening here. So I urge you, council members, end this meeting for being illegitimate. That's a hard word, but that's a true word in this case. And you wonder why us, as taxpayers and involved citizens, are angry? You just got the best reason why. Please put an end to this farce. Let's get back on some respectful platform here, and don't let a ringmaster have her way. Thank you.
Jen Renzi, followed by Gary Wetstein, and then Jimmy Jen.
Hi, this is my first city council meeting here. First time I've, yes. This is the first time I've ever spoken at a city council meeting anywhere. It felt important enough to get myself here on very short notice. I'm a newcomer to Vallejo. I mean, 3 years, I say, would make me a newcomer. The reputation of Vallejo preceded it. It's famous. I hope you all really realize how well-known these issues are. I mean, there was this documentary that the whole country saw, you know, the badge bending, like it reached my ears living in Fresno. You know, I moved here with a lot of hope because it's been feeling like maybe we're getting off turning a new leaf. My personal experience with the police has only been positive. They showed up for a burglar alarm. I lost my car somewhere in Vallejo taking a walk. I'm getting a little forgetful. They went and found it and then drove me to my car in the middle of the night. So my experience personally has been good. But I know there's been these horrible injustices and you know, murders and lack of transparency, and I voted very hopefully for a new mayor this year, and I was hopeful that things were going to be changing, and I feel you need to not have this meeting until she's available. Good luck, everybody.
Gary Wetstein.
Good evening, council. The rushing of this meeting just doesn't seem right, and I hope you all realize the optics, and the community is looking at everybody here tonight and what's going on. The fact that you're gonna be discussing such an important issue minus the mayor and the vice mayor doesn't seem right. In fact, we all know it's not right. This is being crammed through, and I urge you to cancel this meeting tonight, please. Thank you.
Jimmy Jen, followed by Daniel Kilburn, and then Barbara Gaya.
Hi. Considering what's been said so far, please cancel this meeting. Council, rip off the bandages, the duct tape, expose the fetid, pus-riddled wound that now is us, Vallejo. Hello, thank you, ACLU, for your courage, your regard, and your great letter to our city council. It embodies the efforts that we could have done years ago. With a very few strong exceptions, our leaders have not represented us. But then we voted for them, usually relying on others to determine our citizenship. We got the government we wanted. or at least we acquiesce to. But this election cycle, in addition to the hopelessness at the voters' doors, there was a plea. Please make changes, corrections. Council, please remember and honor that plea and that we rejected the status quo. You were voted, this time anyway, to not accept the status quo. Start with the biggest one. We demonstrate we want change. Start with the biggest one, reform our police department and eliminate their enablers. Lift the anchor and turn this ship around. Please cancel this. Let's do this so much better, guys, please.
Daniel Kilborn, followed by Barbara Gaya. That'll wrap up our in-person, and then we have one online speaker.
Yeah, I'm tall. Good evening, council members. My name is Daniel Kilburn. I'm the founder of Emergency Action Planning, LLC. For decades, I've been training military personnel, civilians, and NGOs how to prepare for the unimaginable before it becomes unmanageable. Now, I'm not here today to talk about fires or floods. What I'm here to talk about is the impact that our first responders have in the community when you call them to service because of an emergency or disaster. Now, it's been proven, and there are statistics all over the place, and I have them if you want them, that the number one thing that would keep a first responder from responding is the welfare and safety of their family. You need to think about that. I know each and every one of you, if you had an emergency or a crisis happening, you're going to think about your family? Of course you are. We all do. That's who we are. Our first responders are no different. When asked why they might not report to that crisis, over 40% of the EMTs said the same thing, their family safety. 66% of law enforcement officers responded they might not show up or depart their post because of family safety. These are statistics. This is not a hypothetical. These are things that have been proven across the board for years. What I'm offering is an opportunity here to start what I will call the First Responder Family Preparedness Program. If you want your first responders to show up, we want to make sure the family is prepared, right? We don't want our first responders looking over their shoulders, worried about their loved ones when they're fighting that fire, when they're dealing with the infrastructure that's broken because of an earthquake or whatever it might be. We want them to know that their family is prepared. Unfortunately, there is not a community in the country that has stepped up to do something like this yet. I'm offering you the opportunity. I have decades of experience, and I would be happy to assist with implementing a program that will lift up your first responders, give them the opportunity to know their families are safe, and open up the community with a broader scope of preparedness. Now I have a one page I'm going to leave here with this gentleman. He can hand out to you. It covers the points I talked about. It's got my information, and I would like for you to sit at some point and discuss the opportunity, the near-term, the short-term, and the long-term benefits of such a program and how it would affect your community. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker, Barbara Gaya.
Thank you. Before I forget, I forgot to pronounce your name, but I really appreciate out there how you look intensely at the speakers. So thank you. We notice if you're looking at a screen or if you're looking at the speaker, especially if you're watching it at home. Okay, my name is Barbara Gay. I'm a 30-year homeowner. I'm in Peterborough. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is, I said I want them to look at the speakers and not be looking at their computer screen. I've noticed that for decades, which ones look at the speaker. I'm Barbara Gay, a 30-year homeowner in Peterborough district. And I used to come to meetings a lot more. I used to introduce myself as the 30 reasons Vallejo was the best city in the country to live. And I hand those out whenever I see new people here. But there's a couple of reasons I don't come. One is I'm building a tiny home. But the other is I remember the days when we used to stand over there and you felt like you were talking to your community, not having your back to your community. And I feel like I'm spinning in the wind, but it still upsets me every single time. The other thing is it's freezing in here. I can't deal with this cold. A lot of us had to run back to our car and get something. If you look around, there's a lot of mature people, seniors who come to these meetings who really love and care about their city. But, you know, it's the meetings that go after midnight and the cold is just really hard. But the main reason I'm here is to back up my local heroes, Paula Bauer, Jimmy Genn, people like that. If they say show up at city council meeting, I trust them with my life. My life is overwhelmingly hectic building this tiny home and my urban farm, but I'm here. And the main thing is I send a email blast from decades ago of like 70 to 100 political buddies, and the notice was just too short. But a couple of friends came here and realized, well, they thought it was just outside, so they had to go. But for each, there's a long-standing political truism that for each letter you get, each call, each person who shows up, there's 20 to 30 people behind them who feel the same way, or just too busy or whatever. And one word I want you to remember, shenanigans. It's a powerful word. I always remember, I think it was Maya Angelou, whenever I worked real hard to get my Andrea Source in office. And one thing I always tell people when they're running for office is, they said, people remember much more not what you said, but how you made them feel. That's why I notice you, how intense you look at the speaker. It really warms my heart. But they remember the word shenanigans. And people will be talking about this meeting. So, whatever all the rest of them said, I underline it. Think about what this looks like. Our city is the best city in the country to live, but not when there's shenanigans going on in City Hall. Thank you for listening.
Last speaker, David Haldane. Please unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Hey, team. And I say team because, I really want to remind you guys that you're on our team. You're our last people on our side before we run into city management, before we run into the VPOA shenanigans, before we run into developers, before we run into all the people who see this gem of a city and want to plunder it, want to bend it to their wills, and people who have plundered, I think is a good word, our city, whether with their will to enact violence on our citizens or exploit our resources, exploit our naivete, exploit our desperation. There's a lot of quiet powers, and there's a lot of wealthy and powerful people who have made a lot of money and made a lot of business off our town. And we got to break free of that. I think you guys know whose job it is to help us get there, because we don't have anyone else. We don't get to choose who our city manager is. We don't get to choose who our police officers are. We don't get to choose how many people sweep our streets, even though we should put more of them out there. We don't get to say who approves our permits, but we do get to say who represents us in meetings that we don't know what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about tonight. You can't tell us, and I understand why you may have made comments to the press saying that you can't talk about what happened in previous meetings. But you can give your own opinion independently. You can say what ought to be. And when you go into these closed meetings, you can remember all of us out here and remember that you're on our team, right? You're with us, and you're all we've got. You're our goalkeeper. They've gotten past us. They won't tell us what's going on. They shoot us. They take our money. They kick us out of houses. They prevent our city from thriving on the backs of them making just a few more dollars for their retirement account. Maybe a few more bucks, another benefit to drive out of town in their shiny cars and free gas. But you're on our team. Like I said, I don't know what you're voting on tonight. I don't know what you voted on last time. I don't know who voted what way. But when you go into that meeting tonight, I want you to remember one thing. You're on our team. You're our neighbors. You're the only ones we've got. You're the goalkeeper. It's the end, right? We're in dire straits. It's time to do what's right, even if it hurts, even if it's hard. The time is now to do the right thing. And you guys know what that is.
That wraps up our public speakers.
Thank you, Manny. And for everyone's edification to the city attorney, if we were to motion and vote to continue this meeting, then we would only be able to do that during the closed session. Is that correct?
To just continue the meeting? No, you could do that from the open session.
Oh, we did it right now.
Correct, but yes, you can hold this closed session or not hold this closed session, but you can't take any other action unless you're reporting out of closed session.
Understood. So in that case, I believe this is the appropriate time. I'm going to request to continue this meeting to a later date. Councilmember Leach, did you want to comment?
Sorry. So I want to make a comment to us as a group. And I may be breaking protocol, but I'm going to break it. The reason this meeting was called is in the last week and a half, we have had several reports and allegations and so forth made, which the city attorney cannot be involved in. And in order to give our city manager direction in how to handle responding, one of the reasons, the ultimate reason for this meeting is because we need to give our city manager directions on what to do next so that there can be a city response on behalf of this council. And that's what this meeting for the three of us who called this meeting is about. Because it's just like someone said in the audience today, and I appreciate it, several people said that we have a great city, and we as a city need to respond. And you cannot allow and have allegations and different things going on without the city responding. And we have not responded in a week and a half to these different allegations. And we need to give our city manager direction on what to do next so that we can have an independent response made on behalf of the city around these allegations.
Councilmember Matias.
Thank you, Chair. I have a sort of procedural question, not a procedural question, an edification question for our city manager. City Manager Murray, can you once again go over what the process is for calling special meetings? And what does the code say to that effect?
Sure. So the charter actually says that a special meeting can be called by, a special meeting could be called by a majority of the council. It can also be called by the mayor themselves or by any 3 city council members.
Okay. So I know you've called for you have called for a motion, I'm presuming, and we should be voting on that. But I similarly share the same sentiments that Councilmember Ledeju shares. I am deeply concerned with what is going on in our city right now. We've had a week and a half of nonstop news stories dropping, and we haven't had a formal response. Now, yeah, the mayor should be here, the vice mayor should be here, right? But what is the precedent that we're setting? Now, if our city's on fire for whatever reason, you name the reason, should no direction be given to city manager because I'm not here, or the mayor's not here, or the vice mayor's not here, or any of these members are not here. We have a process outlined in our municipal code, and again, I keep going back to something I've been saying for months. You guys can only get to trust me based on what I do, what decisions I make. And that can only happen while I'm in office and while you're seeing things happen real time. Now, I frankly don't know why the mayor, I saw that there was a post that she made suggesting that we would be making monumental decisions without her being here. I frankly don't have an explanation for that. But what I will say is we had a massive rat infestation. We had downtown, we had an article drop, media reach out to us multiple times. Then we had another article from Open Vallejo drop. And so I don't even know what's gonna happen between now and next Tuesday. We're supposed to keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting, and there's no response from the mayor's office, there's no response from the city manager's office. Is that how a city should be run? So I just have you guys think about that, like just in general. That's not the way to run a city, honestly. And that's my opinion. You guys have your opinions, and I have mine. So we have formal motions that you want to sort of vote on, and I'd be ready to vote on whichever motions come out of the two of you.
Thank you. And if we could allow one more comment, Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you so much. I want to first of all thank everyone for coming out to speak. We appreciate you and your voice. I agree with my colleagues. This is a Tuesday that we typically would not meet, but that's our responsibility. We were voted into office to handle issues and not ignore them. Because for me, I'm hearing just the opposite. Where are you at? How come you haven't showed up? Are you hiding? And as both my colleagues point out, we have had calls from New York. We have calls from, someone said earlier, as far up as California to low as California. And of course, we want to answer it properly because we do represent each of you. You voted us in, and all of you can't stand behind here, right? And those who have had this experience would know sometimes this will happen. I remember our mayor has called special meetings, and my colleague could not be there. And we still had it. There's other times where my other colleague couldn't be there, but we still had it because we represent each other. It's not just one person here. And also, too, the mayor wasn't here last week, but we still had our meeting. So we represent each other. So wherever that may look like to one of you, but the reason that we had to call this meeting is because we don't want to run. I'm not doing all that. And I don't want to speak on something I don't have clarity on. And again, we want to make sure that we empower our city manager of what he needs to do, and he can't do that. As you know, protocol, it has to be done this way. And I really appreciate you understanding that. But again, I want to thank you all for showing up. I appreciate you because I do value your voice, and because I would probably be on the other side with you too. But it's a different story when you sit behind here and you see more than you would as an advocate. So thank you so much for allowing me to share. I hope you all have a good day and keep on supporting us and trust us. Thank you.
All seven should give direction. All seven should give direction. All seven should give direction.
If I hear no objections or alternate amendments, oh, I'm so sorry. Councilmember Tulak.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so for those that may not be aware, I'm actually on a scheduled vacation and I got the notice of this. And so I had to rearrange everything to make it to this meeting. So I was able to make it. And the fact that we do have a city that does need to be run and take action on, I'm in favor of moving forward with this. That doesn't mean we have to take action of anything tonight, but we just need to listen to find out what are our options in front of us and to where we can move forward, or this may be something that we do still table in closed session for a later time. But I'm not in favor of holding back this meeting and not knowing what actions are available and for us to move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if I hear no other amendments or objections, I'd like to push forward with that vote. My original motion was to continue this meeting to another date. Dawn?
Okay, we'll need to do a roll call vote because you have council member participating virtually.
Understood.
Okay. Council member.
So before you do the vote, I'd like to make a friendly motion because we need to give direction to our city manager so that we can respond appropriately as a city. And so I motion that, I'm not sure how this works, but I'm motioning that as it relates to this one piece, that we're able to instruct the city manager on the next steps to be able to respond publicly to the different events that have occurred over the last week and a half, that we as city council members are being asked to respond on behalf of the city.
Can we vote for those separately? Is that possible, Dawn?
I'm going to ask the city attorney to correct me if I'm wrong, but the amendment the council member Lediju made, you're making that in open session versus going into closed session. Correct?
Exactly. I want to be able to give instructions to the city manager so that he might go forward to answer on these different events on behalf of our city, which a responsible city does.
Can I clarify, are you saying you want us to do this outside of here or not back there?
No, we can, it's simple direction. I want to be able to sit
I think
here
she's
and
getting
give
that clarity.
directions of what to do next so that he might go forward and make a response on behalf of the city.
Go ahead, city attorney.
Sorry. So I think the problem with that is that it isn't actually on an open session agenda. I think you can report out of closed session and you can report as much or as little out of that closed session as you want to. So I think if the public wants to stay and hear what you all have to say, the public can stay. They'll hear exactly the same thing you would direct in open session as a direction coming out of closed session and a report out. But given the way we agendized this, as it was originally requested, I don't know that that the agenda was what was requested. That's fine. But if you want to do an open session item, I suggest you go back, make your comments, decisions, whatever they are, and then come back out and report that out. Just to be clean and clear with the Brown Act. That's my only suggestion.
Okay, well, Councilmember Macias.
So, again, just following up with what Councilmember Lediju say, what I would propose is we go into closed session, we ask folks to hang on tight here, and then coming out of that closed session, we will report out what proposed next steps are, which may include a continuation of this meeting to next week. But I am in favor of having a quick chat, giving some direction to the city manager, and then reporting out to the public so they know what we're doing next. Not doing anything, like I always say, is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I think we should proceed with that. And it's not going to go on for 2 hours, folks. Just ask you to hang on tight.
Councilmember, did you want to say anything else?
No.
Okay. So I personally want to continue this right now. So my plan, I'm going to proffer to all of you, is we'll have that vote. If that vote succeeds, then we're going to continue this to another date at the spot, on the spot. If it fails, then we're going to go back in there and we'll discuss whatever everyone wants to discuss. Sound fair? Okay. So Don, can we do the roll, not the roll call, the vote?
Sure. Councilmember Gordon,
I want to continue the meeting.
you do?
Yes.
Yes, a yes. Okay. Councilmember Lettich.
City Manager Murray, did you want to?
Cookie.
So I say no?
Sorry, I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on the motion. Councilmember Palmaris's motion is to continue this closed session to another date and not discuss it today. So a yes would be to not discuss it in closed session today.
Right, and just to be clear, if that were to happen, then we are done and we're not going to be voting on anything else. I just want to be crystal clear on that. I don't want to mislead anyone. Okay, you want to proceed again, Don?
Councilmember Gordon,
No.
Councilmember Lettich.
No.
Councilmember Matias.
No.
Councilmember Matulik.
No.
Councilmember Palmaris.
Aye.
Motion fails.
All right, we're going to go to closed session. All right, folks, I'm going to bring back the meeting to order. City Manager, I believe you have a report out.
Yes, during closed session, the city council provided direction that the city manager's office would engage a law firm that the city has under contract, Rennie Public Law Group, to review the recent allegations, to recommend whether a formal investigation should be conducted of the allegations, and for that firm to collaborate with city staff to create a public response to those allegations.
Thank you, City Manager. If there's nothing else, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 6:21. Thank you.